What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 3 of season 3 of NFL Turf Talk here on the DSM Media Twitter channel and the DSM Media Turf Talk YouTube channel. So, guys, make sure to check us out first and foremost, as always, on Twitter at DSM_media. Hit that follow button and then check out the link tree in our bio. And make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's the best and only spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up with us when we are live. We will be live every Thursday night and every Sunday during the NFL regular season. This is pre-recorded, so if we're not answering your comments, if we're not answering your questions, we're not ignoring you. We're just not seeing them right now. But make sure to tap in, subscribe, follow. We greatly appreciate it. We've done the AFC South. We've done the NFC South. We're on to one of the best divisions in football, Scotty, one of the most battle-tested divisions in football, the AFC North. Lamar and the Ravens, Burrow, Chase, and the Bengals, Shador and the Browns, and of course, Aaron Rodgers is a Pittsburgh Steeler. Couple teams made a lot of moves. One team did a lot of nothing, and one team's in a little bit of disarray, Scotty, even though they're very, very offensive, firepower-y. It's a word. We got a lot to discuss, man. So what's going on? We'll get to the tier list a little bit into the show. We'll wrap it up with our fantasy draft as always. So stay tuned for that, guys. It's the best part of the show. But how's it going, man?
Yeah, no, we talked earlier, so we're doing good. We're just we're keeping the flow going here, my man. I'm excited to get this one out. I think we'll have a lot of fun with this one. There was a lot of turnover with a few of these teams. Some of these teams got really sturdy through free agency, through the draft. So I do like what some of these teams did. And like you mentioned, there's some controversy with the other teams in this division. So it'll be interesting. I'm interested to see ultimately where you come out on some of these teams. I think we'll agree on the top teams, but I'm interested to see where you land with the Browns and the Bengals. Yeah, I think that would just be straightforward about it. Yeah.
Let's get this directly out of the way. Here's where I lean when it comes to the AFC North. Now, we're going to talk about all the teams. We're going to talk about the offseason additions, subtractions, what it means, what tier these teams are actually in. But I'm going Baltimore to repeat. They are, to me, by far and away the most complete team within this division. They've kind of ran this division for the last couple of years. They're the biggest threat to a Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs and Josh Allen and Buffalo Bills team right now in the AFC for me. So I'm sticking with Lamar and the MVP to come out on top in this division. Number 2, I am going with the Pittsburgh Steelers, just like last year. I think this is a playoff team. I think depending on what Aaron Rodgers you get, it's been a while since we've seen the actual Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
I think this is a dangerous playoff team, meaning they could scare someone in the first round or two and see what happens. I have Pittsburgh coming in second. I have Cincinnati coming in third. By default, Cleveland just comes in fourth. They have 700 quarterbacks right now, so they definitely don't have one. We'll talk about how disgusting that franchise is towards the end of this division. Yeah. But I have the Bengals at 3, man. I think the Bengals can definitely be in the playoff mix, as we were texting about earlier. When you have a trio of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, it's one of the most dangerous offenses in football. They won 9 games last year. I think that does get a little undersold. Like, all the drama surrounding them, how bad that defense was. There is a reason Joe Burrow was legitimately in MVP conversation, not leading it, but in conversation with only 9 wins because of how bad that defense was. If that defense improves a little bit, this is a double-digit win team. The problem is, the franchise doesn't seem to be handling things too well. Trey Hendrickson, is he going to show up? Is he going to play? Are they going to trade him? What's going to happen there? And if you don't bring him back, man, there's no way in hell this defense can improve from last year. So that's why I had the Bengals in third. They are a fringe playoff team for me, but when you have that offensive firepower and that quarterback leading the way, you are going to be in the conversation at the end of the year.
Yeah, no, I guess we can start there with the Bengals, man. I don't disagree with what you said. I think ultimately, once again, it's leaning into the unknown with this team. They didn't bring in a ton of external talent in, right? And I think even their first round pick, Shamar Stewart, they had a lot of trouble. I think he's showing up now, but they were having a lot of trouble. We were getting a lot of noise about him not getting the right pay that he felt to start his young career there. So a lot of turmoil, to your point, on the defensive side of things, because that's where he's supposed to fit right in. But I think they also kind of cleared out some older ranking guys that maybe they still have the name value, but maybe don't present the value on the field that they once did. I'm talking about guys like Mike Hilton, Sheldon Rankin, Sam Hubbard retired. So they got kind of that dead weight out of there, and now you get to let the youth step in and see if they can give you something more there. And I think that's kind of what they're doing. They have a lot of guys that they have to pay. You mentioned Trey Hendrickson. He's the biggest case right now. They were able to re-sign T. Higgins. They were able to get Jamar Chase extended. They basically, on offense, ran it back like that, and that's all they really needed to do, right? Outside of the running back position, which I guess you can argue, like Chase Brown, is he the guy the guy moving forward? But he's good. He's solid. And then they did bring in Samaj P. Ryan. They did bring in a guy on defense, Oren Burks, who we're familiar with.
Gave us some champion Oren Burks.
Some serviceable moments at the linebacker position with Nakobe Dean down. So maybe he can take a little bit of that Super Bowl experience and bring that over there. And then, of course, the Shamar Stewart, if you can just get him signed, it's your first-round pick. He's an edge rusher. He should be able to help immediately. Able to re-sign B.J. Hill in the defensive line, and then Joseph Asai as an edge rusher. So it's hard to say. I mean, I think they're just banking on their young guys just getting better when you start to really look at their off-season moves. And I think just looking at the offense, what Burrow was able to do last year, to your point, with one of the worst defenses, I mean, we might have ever seen in contrast to what the offense was presenting. Maybe you don't get the 5,000 passing yards, the 40 touchdowns, and the under 10 interceptions this year from Joe. But maybe you get a little bit better from the defense. Maybe you get a little bit more from the rushing attack offense.
How many games did they lose when scoring like 30-plus points last year? It was like 5.
It was a lot.
Games when scoring like 30 or 32-plus points last year. And then that's the problem. And I think that's my biggest problem with Cincinnati. It's never going to be Joe Burrow on the offense. Ever. They're a team that can drop 40 on you on any given night, on any given Sunday. It's not just that the defense severely struggled this year. You are right. You trim some of that fat right off of the steak, and you get some of that nice catch, Brent. You get some of that veteran presence that was kind of lacking last year out of there. My problem is what message are you sending if you don't pay Trey Hendrickson? Yeah. And I know that they have a lot of money to spread around, like you mentioned, and you get a Jamar Chase on that deal. That's huge. Keeping T. Higgins, which wasn't looking likely at one point, that they weren't going to be able to keep that duo together. So that is big. But to give how many sacks did Trey have last year? Led the league.
Yeah, I mean, he was
17 and a half sacks and 2 forced fumbles for Trey Hendrickson last year. You have to find a way to accommodate the man. So if you don't and you leave him high and dry, I don't know that he's lying. I don't know that Trey Hendrickson is going to come and suit up for this team without getting his penny.
Yeah.
And if you don't find a way to do it, that defense that was already bad is going to become putrid, no matter if there is a little bit of a youth movement or not, because you're losing one of the game's best pass rushers in the process of doing so.
Yeah, and I think
that is Cincinnati's problem for me.
When you talk about the defense, it's not that maybe their defense is better than it was last year, and I think it's going to be hard for them not to be better than what it was last year. Quite honestly, true. It's just when you look at the other defenses in the division. Yeah. It's just like, the stability. I mean, I directly look at the Steelers because I'm with you. I think the Steelers are number 2. I think the Ravens are number 1 here. When I look at the Steelers, like that matchup. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at the matchup. It highly, highly depends on Aaron Rodgers in that case, right? But I think even if Aaron Rodgers is middle of the pack, that defense is still so good. And we could talk about the Steelers now. Let's move to them. The guys that they added this offseason, man. I mean, they're another team. Did they trim the fat? Did they get rid of the nonsense? Is that what that George Pickens trade was? Like, he was a noisy, he was a distracting type of player. I do get that. You ultimately swap him out and bring in DK Metcalf. So drop off. DK is better.
Yeah, I will say this.
DK's better, in my opinion, at this point.
It has to depend truly on how much of a problem he was behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Because for years now, you have had a guy in George Pickens who is a borderline number one, if not a true number one in this city.
Very talented.
And you had no other help. And then they went out and they signed DK Metcalf. And I went, oh, wow. They finally found a dance partner for George Pickens.
Yeah.
But then you turned around and traded George Pickens. So it doesn't mean the offense isn't better. It's vastly improved, right? Depending on what Rodgers you get. DK Metcalf. They brought in a vet like Robert Woods as well, right? Who they didn't have last year. So they are improved, but you're talking about a completely different monster if George Pickens is on the opposite side of the line of the formation as DK Metcalf. So I don't love the trade unless he was just an absolute disaster in the locker room.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Because I just look at the Steelers and their track record. Like, Antonio Brown was arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL, and they were not scared to move off of him. Le'Veon Bell, and they were right on Le'Veon Bell, of course. They were right on Antonio Brown, quite honestly. I mean, even going back to, like, the Santonio Holmes, like, the guy that caught the Super Bowl catch for them, they moved off of him when they had to move off of him, and I just feel like they're a no-nonsense type of organization. Which makes the Aaron Rodgers signing so much more interesting. And for some reason, man, it's probably just the Steelers organization. I trust Aaron Rodgers so much more in this organization with Mike Tomlin. And maybe that's false belief. Maybe I'm still buying too much into like Mike Tomlin and his culture that he sets here in Pittsburgh. But I don't know. I like the fit, man. I think they can balance it out. I think you cut that Najee Harris, who was like the name in the backfield, but he was not better than Jaylen Warren when Jaylen Warren was on the field. So you throw Najee Harris out, you add in two young guys with Kenneth Gainwell and Caleb Johnson is the other young guy that they drafted. The DK thing, I do feel you, like, of where they could be versus where they are. Yeah. But maybe they just don't trade for DK if they weren't planning on trading George Pickens. Maybe that just was always the plan.
And they also dealt George Pickens to a dysfunctional franchise, which just tells you everything. He kind of fits. But the Rodgers thing, dude, it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, offseason move, regardless of age, regardless of performance last year in New York. Everything was a disaster, a mess. The shenanigans and the quotes and everything that kind of seemed to follow him. You are right. It's a little bit odd, but I think there was already a relationship between Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers throughout just all the years of being in the National Football League where there's that respect and they know one another or whatever. If you remember, when we started this show was Aaron Rodgers last year in Green Bay. And Pittsburgh was the spot. You use it.
Always made sense.
Go to Pittsburgh. And then he went to New York, and we liked it, right? The defense, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, we liked it. Obviously, we know how his career started in New York and then what happened. But now he's here. Is it too late? Probably. I don't know. But it's going to be damn interesting if you get kind of a flash in the pan Aaron Rodgers from a couple years ago with this defense, seeing in the AFC. But the defense is where they really – I mean, their defense was already very good, bro. But their secondary now is gross.
To your point about Aaron Rodgers – even if it is the too late version of Aaron Rodgers, they're still like a 10-win team, in my opinion. Like, if he's just Aaron Rodgers that can dump it off when necessary, like, they're a 10-win team.
Let me ask you this. Is too late Aaron Rodgers better than too late Russell Wilson of last year?
This is interesting because I was going to ask you kind of the same question, but on a different end. And when you look at Russell Wilson, like, was he bad last year?
No, I don't think Russell Wilson was bad at all last year. I think I disagree with a lot of people.
Can Aaron Rodgers be better than what Russell Wilson was last year?
I think he can.
I think he can. They're different style quarterbacks.
I think he still has the arm strength and everything and up here going. And it's like, if he has the time, because that's the thing that was lacking in New York, bro. He got massacred in New York as well. He wasn't good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not making excuses for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But he got massacred behind that line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And they could not run the ball. Trust me, I was a Brees Hall fantasy owner. They could not run the football.
Yeah.
With this offensive line and these weapons, I'm very interested to see what kind of flashback you could get from Rodgers. But like I said, dude, this defense, right? You're talking about a defense that's already been anchored by arguably the best defensive player in football in TJ Watt. You have a guy in Cam Hayward who's been around the block for a while, but still is really, really good. They brought over Patrick Queen from Baltimore. What was that, last offseason?
Yeah.
Went to go along with Alex Highsmith. And then you look at the secondary now and adding to a young Joey Porter Jr., adding to a Deshaun Elliott and a Jawan Thornhill. They brought in Darius Slay, who we know he's getting a little older. It's not the same Darius Slay. But guess what, Scotty? He's across from one of the game's best in Jalen Ramsey, who's also a little bit older than where he was a few short years ago. But still, Jalen Ramsey is Jalen Ramsey, okay? This defense is gross. This defense is really effing good. So Pittsburgh is one of those teams I'm keeping an eye on all year long.
Yeah, no, I do agree. You look at the defense, and it's funny that we point to the defense because they did they traded Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Miami Dolphins. They did extend TJ Watt this offseason, which was the key. But yeah, you mentioned it, man. You bring in basically a fresh set in the secondary outside of Joey Porter Jr. You bring Juan Thornhill, who was, and I think this is a big thing too. Juan Thornhill was a safety for the Browns, right? And so you're taking from a division rival. Yep. And then you also take Deshaun Elliott from the Ravens. I believe he had transitioned to the Browns.
I forget.
Maybe. I may be slipping up there, but I know he started on the Ravens at least. And so you bring in guys that are experienced in the division nonetheless. And those two, you mentioned Ramsey and Darius Slay. I think the only thing you do have to watch out for is, are those guys over the cliff yet? Or when you don't know a player is over the cliff until they are over the cliff and they show you. So that is the only little bit of pessimism that I'll use against that secondary. But on paper, based off last season, what Slay showed in Philly, what Ramsey still showed in Miami, that's going to be a great secondary. Then the little things on offense, I think like the little guys like Kenny Gainwell, who could be your third down back, and then Jonnu Smith behind Pat Freiermuth, who Freiermuth can be more of that blocking tight end. He can play make here and there, but Jonnu Smith is like that go-to guy when you talk about a receiving tight end. So I do like the little things they did as well as the bigger moves on defense too.
Let me ask you this, man. We're giving Pittsburgh a lot of praise right now, but you just brought up something very interesting to me, that age factor. And I do agree. That's why I'm praising them. I don't think that's going to come up this year. Yeah. But is there a possibility that as much as we're praising this team and talking it up, it can just as quickly tank because of all this age? I mean, it's not just the defensive side of the ball. It's not just Slay and a little bit older Jalen Ramsey, older Cam Hayward, etc. It goes with the quarterback, with the leader in Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Robert Woods, Calvin Austin. Like there's age on that offensive side of the ball as well. Can it tank just as quickly as it could ascend towards a playoff threat?
I think so, man. I mean, we thought and I know the national analyst, like from the perspective of national, right? The Jets were highly regarded. And what did they have? What the fuck did they have? They didn't have a wash defense. They had one of the best young defenses in the NFL, and that still fell apart. So I'm not going to say that the Steelers can't fall apart.
Listen,
I do trust their defense a little bit more.
They had a young Brees Hall. They had a young Garrett Wilson. They brought in Devontae Adams. They had talent. They had a very good defense.
Did have Devontae Adams.
Yeah, man. So
you forget about that one. Yeah.
It's going to be the question of what is Aaron Rodgers this year?
Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. But I think when we talk so highly about the Steelers, it takes me to the next team, and that's the Ravens. And that's because as high as even on the best season for the Steelers, I still think they come in second behind the Ravens because, and I'll throw this to you, the Ravens' problems aren't in the regular season. They dominate the regular season. Lamar is MVP in the regular season. That's not the issue. Winning the division is not the issue. It's in the postseason, and that's what it comes down to. And I think, the Ravens, they're in an interesting spot right now. I think it's the same thing. We haven't gotten to the AFC East, but we'll talk about the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. But you're just in this, it's not no man's land. It's not that. No, not by any means. They're much, much better than that. But it just gets to this point, like you can win fucking 14 games this regular season.
When are you going to get over the hump?
It does not matter until the postseason. Yes. That's kind of where I'm at with the Ravens, man. They made some great additions this offseason.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter until I see Lamar in the postseason.
So a few things here, right? They added DeAndre Hopkins, who, again, we were just talking about age with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're getting that in DeAndre Hopkins here. But I like the addition, man. I still think there's a decent amount left in the tank for D-Hop, and you add him to an offense that is very run-heavy when you're talking about the combination of Jackson and Derrick Henry. Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, and Mark
Andrews,
right?
Zay and Rashad really well.
I think it's a perfect, intermediate route kind of guy that Lamar can rely on. But speaking of really good defense, like we just talked about with Pittsburgh, this Ravens defense has been a staple of what they do since I've been born, right? And in this Lamar era. And they went out and drafted Malachi Starks at the safety position to go along with Kyle Hamilton. Yeah. And then brought in Jair Alexander, which I forgot about all offseason long. Yeah. We were eyeing at one point. So they made a great defense even better. They added to one of their weaknesses, which was the skill position guys on offense. So I'm looking forward to this Ravens team. I think they win 12, 13 games again, and they win this division, and they could possibly even be the number one overall seed in the AFC. The question is going to be what happens in the postseason, like you mentioned. Yeah. And here's where I'm at with it, man. Like, we sit here, and I've crushed Josh Allen in the past. Crushed him for coming up short. Lamar Jackson's supporting cast is sky effing high above Josh Allen's supporting cast.
Yeah.
Okay? Especially since Stephon Diggs departed over a year ago.
And God forbid we talk about fit.
Yeah. This is it for me with Lamar Jackson, brother. Look, he's a great quarterback. He's still going to be in the conversations all the time. He's going to be an MVP numbers kind of guy in the regular season. I don't want to hear another word about Lamar Jackson being one of the game's top 2 or 3 quarterbacks if he chokes in the playoffs again and they come up short. Everyone talks, and this is the Eagles fan now, the frustration coming out of me when it comes about to Jalen Hurts and the conversation around him. But everyone talks about the supporting cast that Jalen has and the rushing attack, and Saquon ran for 2K. What the hell did Derrick Henry do last year?
Yeah.
Someone need to remind me what Derrick Henry ran for last year? And that supporting cast in Baltimore, what they accomplish? If you can't get it done with a running back that can rush for 2,000 yards, with a good receiving core, one of the best coaches in football, and that defense, you come up short again, I don't want to keep hearing your name brought up in terms of the game's best. Yeah. Most talented, yes, but best, no. This is it when it comes to Lamar Jackson, bro. How many more chances are you going to get? Because Derrick Henry's not going to keep rushing for 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry's got another year or 2 to 3, 2 more years with Derrick Henry at this level. And if you can't get it done with Derrick Henry and Mark Andrews getting older and some of these guys on defense, you're not going to win a championship. You know what they're going to be in a few years? What Buffalo is now to me. See, I think we're not talking about the AFC East. We're not talking about the Bills yet. Are the Bills, I'm going to be honest with you, a little preview. I don't have the Bills in Super Bowl champs contention. The Buffalo Bills are a playoff team to me. I don't think they're talented enough on the offensive side of the ball outside of Josh Allen to compete for a Super Bowl. And it ain't like their defense is the game's best defense. So I think the Bills were up here 3 years ago, right? I think they were in that Super Bowl contention for a couple years. And I think they've kind of worked their way down. right? They've had to pay money, they've lost guys, and they're not as talented. In a few years from now, you're going to have Lamar Jackson at a high dollar value. And I promise you, Mark Andrews is going to be gone, and Derrick Henry's going to be gone, and possibly Zay Flowers or Rashad Bateman's going to be gone. And you're going to be looking around like, well, who's here for Lamar to get the ball to? And they're just going to be one of those teams that wins 12 games and they never compete.
I mean, I even hate to take it here, man, as like, I guess I'm turning into an old head, but like, what does Lamar look like post 30? Like, athletically? He's a freak. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't see him like ever like losing his athleticism completely by any means.
Yeah.
It could go on like maybe a Mike Vick trajectory where maybe he starts to air the ball out a little, which he has in the last couple of years. I'm not trying to take anything away from him there, but when things get tight, he resorts to old Lamar, and that's scrambling around trying to make things happen with his legs.
This is it.
And so yeah, he's 28 years old. Like, it's not like we're entering, he's not down at like 26 like Jalen Hurts or 24 like Jaden Daniels and some of these these younger quarterbacks. Like, now is the time. This is the peak. This is the prime of Lamar Jackson as well. So I do agree. It's like, it's now or never. Like, if you can't win with this team, then what does it take? Like, do you have to go out and get a number one wide receiver next year as well and throw that into the offense? Like, maybe that's what they do need to do. But I just, with this defense, man, you just honed in on all the talent that they've added, all the talent that they've had, man.
I'm about to get really insulted.
It sounds like a replay, man. It sounds like the same shit we said last year with
every
the
year.
Yeah, they could win it, sure.
Yeah.
Why would I pick them to win it?
And we're gonna have to see, right? And he's gonna have a chance to prove it, right? I can't just. But this is it for me, and I'm about to get really insulting with this. Now, from a talent perspective, and you're talking MVP stuff like that, like Lamar is on a completely different stratosphere than the name I'm about to throw out. But what you just said, right? Like, well, what else do we have to go get? Do you need this guy at receiver? Do you need this on defense? Do you need whatever? It reminds me a lot of Dak Prescott. It reminds me. I mean, how many years in a row? Ezekiel Elliott to CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper and Brandon Cooks.
I just hate the Cowboys, man. Like,
but my point
Dak
is,
loses to Jordan Love in the postseason, though. You know what I mean? Like, he hits like new lows. Like, at least Lamar, they lost to Buffalo last year in Buffalo, right? Or am I tripping there? But
what I'm saying,
I do feel you though.
The excuses of like, what else do you need? Because every year that Dak used to come up short, and he had CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper and Brandon Cooks, and they had a good rushing attack and the best offensive line in football, and Micah Parsons led the league in this, and Trevon Diggs led the league in interceptions. All these numbers, all these playmakers, and he'd be like, oh well, they need that. At what point, like when we're talking about Lamar, what else do you need?
Yeah.
What else are you going to need if you can't get it done this year? Hate to break it to you, Patty gets it done with less.
Yeah, absolutely.
Josh gets it done with less.
Yeah.
And I'll argue this. When we start talking about these quarterback conversations, right? And again, I know I'm being very harsh on Lamar Jackson right now. Lamar Jackson, to me, is a top 4 or 5 quarterback in the league. But if I asked you, like, how many guys could I name and said if I put them, like, because people love to do that with the Eagles, right? Like, if I put X here, would they still win a Super Bowl? If you put Joe Burrow in a Ravens uniform with this roster, do they compete for a Super Bowl? Do they want to, like, you know what I'm saying? Do they get to the Super Bowl?
Compete? I don't know. Jamar Chase is what makes Joe Burrow. So I don't know. That offense is built around Jamar Chase. So I don't know. I don't know if Joe Burrow could handle what Lamar's working with.
You said that so seriously. I was like, wait a second. Is he?
Nah, you know I'm a Joe Burrow guy, man. It's hard for me with guys like Lamar. Like, and it is what makes Josh Allen so special. And I know guys don't like to group Jalen in there. Yeah, the dual threat. Like, when an offense is completely built around you. You know what I mean? Because we just don't know what the Ravens offense looks like with a pass-first prototypical type.
Yeah, you're right.
But
I'm just saying, with
I feel
that defense,
better quarterback. Take the legs out of it. He's a better quarterback.
With that defense and Derrick Henry and those 3 wide receivers and that tight end and that offensive line, I mean, come on. Because, again, at the end of the day, what has come up short in the postseason each and every time for Baltimore?
The offense.
It ain't Derrick Henry. It ain't like he's only been here for one of the years. So
how did they finish the season last year? Was it against the Bills? I just remember them in snow struggling. And the problem was, okay, it's snowy out, but like you guys are a run first team. And I just don't know if that is like a year, if maybe I'm off by a year here. Not the conference, but the Bills.
I got their last year.
27-25 to the Bills, and it was in Buffalo. Okay. Bills forced 3 turnovers. Let's see who were the turnovers. 1 Lamar interception, and then 1 Lamar fumble, and then the crucial Mark Andrews fumble that cost them the game. Or maybe it was a drop, actually, but he did fumble in that game as well. Was it a drop on 2-point conversion? Is that what happened?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, that is what happened. So that was kind of on Mark Andrews, but 2 turnovers from Lamar Jackson, the difference in the game.
Because when we lost in the Super Bowl to Kansas City a couple years ago, Jalen Hurts was damn near flawless.
Yeah.
But was the reason everyone said the Eagles lost the game, Scotty? The one singular turnover he had.
Yeah. Josh Allen.
Mark Andrews might have been the moment you can point to, but those 2 turnovers damn sure played a factor, and they come in.
No doubt. And Josh Allen didn't have to do much in this one. 127 passing yards, no passing touchdowns, no interceptions, 2 rushing touchdowns, 20 rushing yards. Didn't turn the ball over, though. So that's the give or take, man. That's the give or take.
Less than 150 yards for the winning quarterback.
Yeah.
And by the way, the Ravens have a better defense than the Bills.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, let's get into these tier rankings because I have nothing to say about the last team because just like in the NFC South, this last team absolutely stinks. And that is the Cleveland Browns. They belong down the bottom of the list.
I have one question for you with the Cleveland Browns.
Sure.
Is their quarterback situation better than the New Orleans Saints?
No.
It's like a trick question, though. Like, it really is.
I mean, I'm kind of lying because, like, whoever they pick, I would probably all take over.
Deshaun Watson. Would you take Deshaun Watson over Spencer Rattler?
Yeah, I still would.
It is questionable, though, the way Deshaun Watson has looked in Cleveland. Like, it is questionable.
But
I would go with Watson
right now. He's not even a factor. I would take Joe Flacco. I would take Dylan Gabriel. I would take Kenny Pickett. I would take Snoop Huntley. I would take Shador. So, like, I would take all of them. But the problem is, like, Doug, I can't. You have 6 quarterbacks.
Yeah. Who the fuck is the quarterback?
I can't take you seriously. Are you joking?
Would you just? What would you do? What would you do?
The one staple you've had to your organization for the last X amount of years was Nick Chubb, and you just gave up on him. He's gone. He's in Houston now.
They got Myles Garrett though after the trade requests. They locked him in at least.
What would I do?
Yeah, what would you do at the QB spot, man?
I mean, I would just let Joe Flacco go out there and eat reps, like
sling it.
unless one of Dylan Gabriel or Shador Sanders absolutely tears up the preseason and looks like they belong against actual NFL talent from day one, then no, I'm letting Joe Flacco get out there and take all those hits and let the young guys learn. So we move on and get a little bit better. But they're going to be one of the worst teams in the National Football League, dude. They're an absolute joke.
Yeah, no, really? I do agree, man. Wide receiver 1, Jerry Jeudy. For
and also Myles Garrett, never open your mouth about winning ever again. And like, look, I know we talked about that contract when it first happened because realistically, who's turning down that number? I completely understand. Yeah. But then you should have never opened your mouth in the first place and said, "I already have the money. I want a championship." And then you re-sign for your life with the Cleveland goddamn Browns.
That's what's making me wonder about the Michael Parsons situation. It's like, is he really?
I don't know. Don't ever talk to me competitor. That's in you. And I hate. There ain't no one that I know is turning down that money. All right.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying, at a certain point, 100 mil to 180 mil, like it's all 100 plus mil, right?
Yeah. No, I feel you.
So can you get that from a team that can contend or whatever? You chose to stay with one of the worst teams and organizations in football. Congratulations. The Browns are obviously on that stinks tier for us. And then we don't have anything but playoff teams and Super Bowl aspirations for the rest of this division, Scotty. And that's why this division is always so much fun. It's so hard to beat the shit out of each other each time they play. You could get a defensive dogfight in a 17-14 game. You could get a 37-35 game. You're never going to know until that fourth quarter rings. Yeah. But we do have Baltimore collectively as Super Bowl champs on that tier. It's going to come down to that whole conversation we had about Lamar Jackson, man. Can he answer the call when it comes to the postseason? They're going to win 12 games, maybe 13 games in the regular season. Can he answer the call come postseason time? We're going to find out. And then we have two playoff contenders. And these two playoff contenders, if they get into the playoffs, you never know the damage they could do when you're talking about a Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase connection, or when you're talking about that Steelers defense. If that Steelers defense comes out this year and is legit, and Rodgers looks like Rodgers from 3 years ago, that Steelers team can very quickly go from playoff contenders to a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. Now, whether or not they get there is a completely different story, but they have up to do that. Like, you see Houston here, you see Tampa Bay here, you see Cincinnati here. The Steelers are on the same tier, but to me, they're number one on that tier of these four teams. They had the highest ceiling above these playoff contenders to reach a Super Bowl for me.
I feel that. And then obviously the other team that's like kind of hanging there is the Cincinnati Bengals, which
they are kind of close to no man's land.
They're dangerous.
They are teetering. Yeah.
They're teetering. They're dangerous, but they also are dangerous in the other way as well, which is their defense. And are they going to give up 35 plus like they did last year per game? So yeah, it's interesting. I think I'm teetering in my head on the Bengals, man, because I'm thinking about Joe Burrow and I'm thinking about that offense, but like, can that offense get better than what it was last year at the same time? Like, you know what I mean? 5,000 yards, 40 passing touchdowns. Like, I don't know that it gets better than that. It's really just that defense. So, yeah, I think they could end up in a very similar spot as they did last year, that 9-8 range. Maybe they sneak out 10 wins and get into the postseason, something like that. But, yeah, I think they're right there. Like you said, no man's land because of how bad that defensive unit is. Losing a little bit of the identity. You lose a little bit of the trust in the coaching staff, right? I don't know. I guess I'm trying to think, like, out of the Texans, Bucks, Bengals, who would like kind of be the last team? I think it would be the Bengals, man. When you talk about balance, they're the least balanced team on that list.
I agree, but again, you never know. If the Bengals played Houston in the wild card round, am I betting against Joe Burrow to bet on C.J. Stroud? I really don't know. It would truly depend on how putrid that defense looks like. But again, if the defense turns out to be that putrid, they're in no man's land because they're not going to be.
Because to be fair, man, the Texans they won that playoff game against the Chargers, and like C.J. Stroud just didn't even have to do anything. Yeah. Like that's how good their defense was. But Joe Burrow, to your point, is not. I would assume he's not throwing 5 interceptions in one playoff game. So
agreed.
Very extreme. But yeah, I think we got those teams in the right spot. We'll see what they can do. Prove us right, prove us wrong.
Last segment of the day of the show.
Should be fun.
Fantasy draft. This one's going to be absolutely incredible and difficult because the first two were difficult in the sense of in the later rounds it got real iffy on who I'm supposed to take here. Now it's iffy in the terms of who do I take over this person. So there's a lot of depth within this division at basically all positions. You got the 1-1 in this draft. I went first last draft. Who you taking?
Man, I'm gonna go Jamar Chase. I think the quarterbacks, I'll live with whoever you don't want out of those two guys. I think. But Jamar Chase, There's other good wide receivers in this division, but he's the guy. He might be the best wide receiver in the league, right? So
Yeah.
I'll go with Jamar Chase.
All right, now with that said, I'm going to take TJ Watt as my linebacker.
Fair enough. That is a difference maker. Let me go ahead and grab Myles Garrett.
I was wondering if I could sneak it. From you. All right, and then also TJ Watt playing that position kind of throws a wrench in my plans. However, I'm going to go ahead and take Jalen Ramsey as my corner.
Okay. I'm going to take Kyle Hamilton.
All right. And then I'm going to turn around and take Jair Alexander as my other corner.
Okay. Let me get King Henry.
Oh, damn, dude. I forgot about it for a second, and right after I picked, that's where I was going to go. Oh, my God. All right, that hurts a little bit. That hurts. All right, you already took a safety.
I feel like the rest we got good pickings, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. So you went there. Let me see here. All right. Give me, even if he holds out, give me Trey Hendrickson on my defensive line.
That's a good one. That is a good one. Let me go my other defensive lineman. I'm going to go Nnamdi Madubuike from the Ravens, man. Quietly noticed him last year. The name stuck out to me last year in the offseason. Followed him a little bit last year. 6.5 sacks. He's a monster on that defensive line. He's huge.
Yeah, thanks for making me check that out.
Yeah, that name, Madubuike. We'll just call him Madu.
Let me go ahead and take Joe Burrow.
Fair enough. Trying to think, like the tight ends don't really stick out. Like I think there's, I don't think
that matters.
Like two good ones, but it's just that two good ones. Let me go ahead and get my corners out of the way. I will go Marlon Humphrey for one.
All right, Marlon Humphrey. And I'm gonna come over here, and I'm gonna take. Who do I think is better? Wow. Give me DK Metcalf.
Nice. All right, fair enough. I'm going to go linebacker Roquan Smith.
Good pick. That's where I was going to go if
TJ Watt exists, though.
Yeah. Well, if TJ was a defensive end, then I would have put him there. All right, let me take T. Higgins.
That's a good one. That is where I was going to go next. I'll just go ahead and grab Lamar.
Lamar Jackson. All right. Let's see. Take my other defensive lineman. I'm going to go with Cam Hayward's old ass.
Fair enough. Still
8 sacks last year. Still,
yeah, still producing. That's exactly what I was gonna say, man. Let me get wide receiver 2. You took T. Higgins and you took DK.
Yeah, you have Jamar.
So let me go. I'm gonna go Zay Flowers.
Zay, all right. I am gonna go with Mr. Mark Andrews.
Nice. Yeah. Which I'm interested in what you think of this. I'm going to go Njoku, but
all right.
Would you give any consideration to Freiermuth? Would you pick Freiermuth over Njoku?
Jonnu Smith, maybe. No, but Njoku. Njoku. If you put Njoku with one of those quarterbacks, like Burrow or Lamar or Rodgers,
yeah,
he's
an athletic freak. I'm just thinking from receiving perspective, but
I need a safety. Now, do I go there? Or do I have some fun with it? All right, so I was going to go ahead and take Juan Thornhill, but I think I'm going to have some fun with it and take the rookie and go with Malachi Starks.
Nice. No, I like that. A little bit out of the box.
I believe this is your last pick, correct?
Yes. I was actually wondering because I think I already wrote it down because you already picked. I just need one more corner, so I'm going to go Denzel Ward.
Denzel Ward. I need my running back, and you took the king, which leaves me with not much. Chase Brown, Jerome Ford, or Jaylen Warren?
Crazy enough.
I might take Jaylen Warren, to be honest.
Yeah, I was going to say. It's between him and Chase Young, but I lean Jaylen Warren. I guess it's more of the unknown with Jaylen Warren. Like, what does he look like as the lead back? We've seen Chase Brown as the lead back. But
yeah, I took Jaylen Warren. So
fair enough.
All right, that's the AFC North, bro. This one will be the fun one to put out. We'll put one out a day or every other day throughout the summer since we have a lot of time to waste till regular season starts.
Yeah.
Get everyone to vote on them. Put them on Twitter, TikTok, and everything. So, guys, make sure if you aren't already, follow us on Twitter first at DSM_media. The link tree in our bio will take you to our TikTok page. Make sure to hit that follow button. And then the YouTube channel specifically. Obviously, we already have the DSM Philadelphia YouTube channel. That's where we do the Faithful Fanatics show. It's where we'll be live for all of our pregame shows for Eagles season, Phillies playoffs, Sixers. Hopefully, we'll see how that plays out this upcoming year. So we're live for all that stuff. So make sure to subscribe there. And then the NFL Turf Talk DSM channel. Make sure to tap in and subscribe here. Every Thursday, every Sunday throughout the regular season, doing breakdowns, predictions, previews. We'll have fantasy segments, gambling segments. We'll have a lot of fun with it. So make sure to tap in and subscribe.
Yes,